Welcome, everyone, to Rogue Gateway Rotary. We're glad you're here. I would like to invite Lisa Looney up for the pledge and the four-way test. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. One, is it the truth? Two, is it fair to all concerned? Three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Lisa. I'd like to invite Daniela for inspiration.
You are.
Hello. I forgot I was going to do this, so here we go. I looked up that this month is new leadership, as we all know. And I just want to say it's a reminder for all of the legacy of the incredible work that Rotarians have done over the years and how exciting it is that we are walking into another year. And the inspiration is really about continuing to carry on that legacy in the work that we do for the next 365 days. So I'm excited to see what we can do this year. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you, Daniela. And thank you to Pat Bath for being our greeter today. Do we have any guests or visiting Rotarians outside of our presenters today? I'm going to give it to you, Don. All right.
We have a visiting Rotarian from the Wednesday Club, Caroline Brooks, and I'm sure many of you know who she is, and she's wonderful. And I brought Joanne Stevens, who's our new development coordinator at the Josephine County Food Bank, right here.
And I brought my guest, Amanda, who is the executive director of Rogue Recovery Center. She's excited to learn about what we do.
Any other guests or visiting Rotarians that we missed? Well, welcome. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for joining us, all of you. And I do have a few things right before we get into announcements. We have an official blue badge recipient, Victoria Lopez Garrett. Come on down. Victoria has completed all the requirements to obtain her blue badge. Congratulations. And while we're getting that for our historian, I'd like to invite Susan Fisher-Mackey up. Come on down, Susan. Susan's returning to our club. That's okay. Welcome. We have a new membership packet for you. We know you're familiar, but want to make sure you have all the stuff that you need. And we're very excited to welcome you back into our club. All right. Announcements. Now it's time for any announcements that you may have. Please come on down and share them with us. Amanda, I believe you have an announcement also.
Okay, well, I did bring in some jam and jelly, and I'm very excited many more of you have. I'm going to assume, are you going to, Patrice, follow up on that? Are you going to follow up on that?
I was going to say that the Wednesday Club has 421. Roger's on a roll. So we have 250. Oh, but we're going to do it. We got a week.
And I'm going to tell you that all the money you've given me, I've purchased is back there. More was brought in, but I'll be gone next week. So it is up to you on your own to get it and bring it. So bring it on next week. Jams and jellies. That's important because that's the last Thursday in July. For those of you who are going to do the cleanup with me on this coming Saturday, I postponed it because my dear sweet 11-year-old grandson asked me to come up to Portland a day early because he didn't want to have to spend the night with friends and his parents were going to be gone. So I'm flying up a day early. I was going to go Sunday, but now I'm going up on Saturday. So it will be postponed till August. Then a couple things that I just want to, these are chamber moments because we are part of the Chamber of Commerce. This weekend is Cruise the Rogue. So I hope you'll get out and check out the cars. There's going to be lots of cars. There's over 325 registered cars, old cars that are up for this event this weekend. That's huge. Also, they are having a lemonade day. If any of you have grandchildren or children who want to be entrepreneurs, it's a great program to build entrepreneurs that they part with the why, and kids get to build their own lemonade stand and go out and do the whole selling. They go through the whole process of advertising, and then they may need judges. So the day will be, the registration for kids is through July 31st, and then the actual day is Saturday, August 8th, between 12 and 3. And I'm sure they would always love more volunteers because there's a lot of kids that do this and they need a lot of judges to go around and cheer the kids on and give them support. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the Chamber of Commerce website or talk to me. That's Saturday, August 8th, 12 to 3. And then also anybody who knows there's somebody who in their heart wants to get this children's museum open here in Grants Pass. I have a table I'm putting together, and I'm trying to get as many people that I know would love to sponsor some sort of a exhibit. So they've broken all the exhibits that they want to get down into parts and pieces, and they're having an auction. It is $60 to go to, unless you get a table. I put together one table. Anyway, so if you're interested in going, let me know, because like I said, this is the push to get this thing to be open by by Christmas or early in the year. So that's my announcements.
Okay, quickly to say that next Thursday, our social is going to start at my house, starting at 5:30. We will have anybody who comes, I encourage them to bring a snack. I will provide all the beverages we need. Don Kogleiser will be there, and we will have like a social, and then we're going to walk down into the Echo Recovery Trail that actually is the first in Oregon, which I'm kind of really proud of. So come and enjoy. And oh, yes, and if you can, carpool, because the park host will get you if you don't. And you happen to go into the park without your permit. So that's okay. And also, right, the 30th. All right, that's it. But we are going to have fun, and the park is beautiful.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for allowing me here today. I just wanted to invite you all to our 1-year anniversary backyard benefit concert. Like Daniela was saying, I'm the executive director of Rogue Recovery Center. We opened up our doors a year ago to provide support to individuals that suffer from substance use disorder, helping them get on the road to recovery and get clean. We will be hosting the benefit concert on Saturday, August 15th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. This will be catered by Filipino Fire, and so they'll have some Filipino food there. 3 artists, 2 of them are coming from out of town, and one of them is local, and some of you may know her. Her name is Alice. She's really well known in this area. We'll have some raffle tickets, and we've actually compensated all of your tickets here. So we wanted Rotary Club to be present at the event. And so if you just scan the QR code, we'd love to go ahead and kind of show you the impact that we've done over the last year and invite you all to a free event for yourselves. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's the sign up lady. So I'm going to start with that table. And so feel free to sign up for as many as you like, and know that everybody that comes up here and does a pledge or a greeting or whatever, you're rock stars. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for those announcements. And thank you, Amanda, for being here and sharing that with us today. Appreciate that. All right, I'm excited to be able to introduce our program today. I don't think I've missed anything yet. So I'm really grateful to be able to introduce a long-standing colleague and friend of mine, along with his assistant, Wade Drake with the Performing Arts Center will be here today. And his assistant, Andrew, is going to let us know about what's going on with the Performing Arts Center, challenges and successes, along with learning a little bit more about Wade's background in theater. I have known Wade since my teen years. I met him in an acting class at Rogue Community College with Bobby Kidder. In Briskworks, which you've heard me talk a lot about. And we're reaching a point where we are really wanting to celebrate Bobby a little bit and the connections that she's made in our community and how much of an impact that she's had on many of us. And I know a large percentage of this club knows who she is and what she's done in our community. But we would like to share a little bit more with those of you that don't and give you the opportunity to be involved in what we're planning together. So Wade, come on down. And Andrew, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
All right. I don't even have to adjust the mic. Isn't that great? So I'm Wade Drake, but I also wanted to start off and give Andrew, the assistant to the PAC, a chance to introduce himself, as not all of you know him yet. And he's an integral part of our team at the PAC. He's done amazing work on our light board and stuff I'll talk about a little bit later, but introduce Andrew Eddy.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Andrew. I moved down here with my folks in 2009, so 17 years ago. Got married in 2012, have two beautiful kids, 12 and 10. And yeah, I've been here at the PAC for 2 years, just starting the third, and it's just been an awesome experience learning problem solving with all the different technical aspects we have and just making it better for the community in general. So it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you. I will make it a little bit taller. Okay, so I know I've been presenting here about the PAC for a couple times recently, and when Jenny asked me, I was like, well, I don't know what else to talk about the PAC. Things are changing and moving. I do have some things to announce and stuff, but also was like, well, maybe I should just talk about myself. And you guys have a couple of hours, right? So I thought sometimes you don't know who's behind the curtain, and that's a lot of what we do is making things happen behind the scenes that you don't know. But I also want to talk about my journey here and a little bit about that. Okay. I haven't really prepared or memorized this, so this is my notes that I'm using. I started off at North Valley High School, and I was a Rotary exchange student in Denmark through the only Rotary club in town at that time. And came back from there, went to RCC, finished up at RCC. Then I went to U of O and got a bachelor in linguistics. And when that finished, I met my significant other, and we decided to go straight from knowing each other for 6 months to living in Japan together, teaching English. So straight into the fire pan, and it forged us 28 years later. Actually, this year was the year that I've been with her longer than I haven't. It was a weird experience. So then I also, after getting back from Japan, I was working at Scholastic in their community alternatives program, working with kids coming out of residential treatment, getting them integrated back into their families on a resilience and strength-based program, which I think, the whole concept is we know what you do wrong. You've proven that. Let's figure out what you can do well and build that to offset the bad. So that was kind of a really fun strength-based approach. It really resonated with my attitude and insight. Then after that, I got the opportunity to run the Grants Pass Boys and Girls Club when it was still a Quonset hut. And then we moved uptown to the old Asante building. And then they opened up the brand new club, and I was like, no, thanks. It seemed like a lot at the time, and I had other interests. So that was moving down to California and working on an organic farm, which was a different experience than I thought it would be. So it only lasted about a year. And then I came back up here, and I helped my dad build a house, and got a phone call from Bobby Kidder. I said, hey, what do you think about teaching an acting class? And so it scared me to death. I was like, I can't do that. And I talked myself into this panic spiral. And then I realized that I could talk myself back out of it and called her back up and said, okay. So that led into teaching at RCC for 9 years, acting. And then I also picked up public speaking classes and had a great time with that. I thought the public speaking, I mean, acting is acting. It's fun all the time. The public speaking was really an interesting foray. I also taught some leadership classes, but the public speaking, I tried to teach to the introvert because extroverts, we hear from them all the time, but we really need the introverts that are thinking about things deeply to get their voice out there as well. So it's a little different model of how I was teaching that class. Then in order to try to stay on at RCC, I only had a bachelor's at the time, so I went back to SOU and got a master's in theater production and design. And that was a lot of work, but it's fun, and all of these things are informing my decisions and informing what I'm doing at the moment. And so then I was not able to get a full-time situation at RCC, so I ended up moving over to Barnstormers Theater and ran that for 4 years and added a bunch of different things that were fun. Storyteller Showcase, where we had the music there, trying to offset and bring in more income to the struggling theater as it was. And that was a lot of fun. And through that, then the PAC assistant job opened up, and I went over there, and now then the previous supervisor retired, and I took that position, and we brought in Andrew. And so that's kind of the working story up till now. Other direction. There we go. So a little bit about myself. For my birthday this year, I just went and participated in a 5-day wooden boat building conference or workshop, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. We built 2 9-foot McKinsey style boats with like one person, so like really tiny, but very fun. I learned a lot, and really excited about boating. I've been rafting, raft guide for Sue and Farron for many, many years, and just love the river community. The river itself is such a metaphor for life that I find, I'm always saying things like, got to keep in the current, or like, oh, let's eddy out and talk about that. And so there's lots of the river that applies to life. I love live music, going around seeing concerts. We actually have tickets for Brit this year, and a couple other things that we're going to go see. We just actually got tickets for the Space Oddity, which is David Brighton's tribute to David Bowie up at Seven Feathers. So that'll be fun, I think. Spent a lot of time traveling. It's really, really important to me as well, because you get out there, you see different diversity and different opinions, and Rotary being one of the most amazing programs out there for youth ambassadors. You really get out there and you're representing your culture and you're learning about their culture. And that just set a precedence for me to want to continue doing that around the world and find out all about stuff. Because when we get down to the people aren't the ones that are killing each other. It's other factions that are at work there that once we all realize that we all want to eat and live in a house, and we have that commonality, it really brings humanity together. So I've traveled to Denmark. My family took a Mexico trip. I've been to Canada, traveled around Europe after Denmark. Spent a year in Japan with Karen Zimmer, my wife. And while we were there, we went to Korea and Thailand. And and then India. We took a trip to India as well. And that was fantastic. Like a month in India, traveled all over the whole thing. That is such a different experience. And then theater, of course, is still a passion. I've been also trying to find things like boat building that are hobbies that aren't theater, because I'm doing theater all the time. So I'm trying to find things that are less theater, but I still love it. I love reading, and I just really love community and building community. And it feels so good to walk in here and know most of you. And everyone's like, hey, wait, I love that feeling. I think when I was in Japan, I was teaching some adult learners. And in Japan, it's very much like a small town in the whole country. They have the face, and you don't do things because you might get caught, or you might get sought out for it. So that's kind of like, when I was a kid, I didn't like that because I never knew how my mom found out the stuff that I did. But but now I really like it because there's some accountability and there's respect and all those things that bring us together as a community, which is really important. Okay. I also wanted to talk about Jenny and I just recently were talking about doing something for Bobby Kidder, and I wanted to mention that there's like my mother is an incredibly powerful woman who's been in my life, and I'm blessed to have several powerful ladies in my life, and Bobby Kidder was one of them. I met her back with Jenny and Briskworks, my sister and I doing that, and then I was one of the first members of her teen theater troupe when I was still in high school. And that was an incredible experience. We would go around to schools and present topics like about drug addiction, about social pressure, peer pressure, all these different things, and try to relate those my personal experience as a fellow teen to other teens, so that's kind of relatable and understandable. And it was really a fun kind of drama therapy type of experience. And then there's the Briskworks, which was a kind of made up written script on the spot, kind of consisting of whoever was in the class, kind of helped form what that turned out to be. So it was always different, always new and organic. And one of the things when I was teaching at RCC that I would do every winter term was encourage my students to write their own monologues and their own scripts. And so we did that every winter term out there. And it's just amazing because I would tell them, like, yeah, the media, the public, the TV tells you all of these messages. Well, we have messages and we can share those messages also to our community. And theater is a great venue for that. So then we helped start Impact Theater, which is a nonprofit with Bobby Kidder to continue perpetuating this work in our community in a legitimate way and be able to get grant funding and things that we could then fund these projects. One of the projects was creating the Drug Court Theater, which was a component of Drug Court. I don't know how many know what Drug Court is. Okay. So the Drug Court Theater was just an extra component. Once they'd finished a few years, they could then participate in this theater troupe that would then, and originally with Impact Theater, I would go around and pretend that I was like, I have 300 days sober. And then I'd tell them a story about something, but then that's me acting it. And so what they did instead with Drug Court Theaters, we got people that were actually in the program. And when they stood up there, the number of days that they had changed every time. It was real for them, and it's such more impactful statement to folks. And then I was teaching acting through Bobby, helped me get into that, and I was extremely grateful for that experience. It was a lot of fun. I also went to RCC and really enjoyed that small community feeling again. Same thing. Getting in with the drama therapy. Then Bobby kind of left to go to pursue her dreams of drama therapy degree, and then I kind of moved into teaching full time for a couple of years at RCC, but didn't get the third year, which would have tenured me in. But that's okay. We're past that. We've moved on. Okay, talking about the PAC now. Unless you have any questions about me that I have glossed over or you want to shoot out right now. Okay. All right, so one of the things that we want to get is we did a lot of research trying to find out the right projector. So we want to bring a projector into the theater that can compete with stage lighting. Stage lighting is very bright. So you have to have, we tried an 8,000 lumen projector and it would just get washed out when we turn the stage lights on. So we got the 20,000 watt, and this was all proceeds from the community fundraiser for the 25th anniversary of the PAC that everyone contributed to, and as your club as well. Thank you very much for that. So we brought a short throw lens and a long throw lens, so we could shoot from the back of the house in a couple different ways, and we can also put it up on stage. And the idea is that if you've seen the Nutcracker, those backdrops that come in. The concept was to try to, because those backdrops cost a lot of money and a projection doesn't cost a lot of money. So when we put the projector up on the stage shooting down with the short throw lens, we can be standing 6 feet away from the screen and not throw a shadow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So lots and lots of applications for that. And then there's another, I'll show you in a minute, what we've done with the projector that, thanks to Andrew as well, is an incredibly, we didn't know if it would work, but we're like that exciting. It's really exciting possibilities with that. Then we also got a fog machine, because who doesn't like fog? I tell you, these teenagers, we'll turn it on and they'll like just be rolling around in it, and it's like the best thing for them. They love it. So we also upgraded our Bluetooth connectivity to the soundboard. So anybody with their phone, we get a lot of times people coming in like apparently USBs and thumb drives and those things seem to be kind of passe at this point in time, even though I'm using one right now. And so they now we can basically, you can interface with your phone, whatever format your phone has, we can jump into our sound system with that. So that helps a lot of accessibility to our system. We just also bought all new soft goods, and soft goods are all the curtains and masking and everything that's in the theater. So we spent a fair bit of money on that, and but we have a brand new main drape. A lot of them, so like about a third of them had failed the flame test, which, as you know, is a good thing to not fail. And so those are all changed out, and it looks great. It's there was some curtains that just had rips where a flat with a nail sticking out of it had fallen over and caught the curtain and just went, and ripped it. And so we're like whip stitching it together. Thank you, Mom. Sorry. And so I don't know, when we redid the lobby and everything pre the 25th anniversary celebration, we had kind of like just painted over the notes and the glass forge notes that are on the lobby, thinking, oh, we'll do it later. And then eventually we got it done. So now they are back on there in their glory, and it looks great. And we also got some headsets. Before, we had headsets that were connected to a cable to the wall. And at the end of the night, a 20-foot cable would be 10 feet long because of you're turning and spinning in circles. And it gets shorter and shorter as it twists up and stuff. So, but now we're like wireless, heads free, so you can run around and do what you need to do on the headset, which is fantastic. Okay, so this is the projector. So this is the PAC. Those are the clouds up there. There's 6 of them across, and then those are the 2 sides. And this is what the image is with the short throw lens at the back of the house. And I think if you hit play, I think just if you roll the mouse in there, maybe. Oh, there it is down there at the bottom. Yeah. Over. No. No. Go up. Okay. Right here. It was right here. Yep, there it is. That one. Right. Very cool. So with that's basically mapping, and the orchestra is doing some like How to Train Your Dragon stuff, and Andrew found these dragon videos, and if we had this, this also goes along with this. It works really well with our new system in the subs. There's like these big, as they're like flying through. It's really neat, and so like every single component that's up here, we can change and make it be whatever we want. So we can support shows that way. We can, I don't know, we're just exploring, we're just setting up the potential. We haven't manifested it yet, but I'm sure someone will figure this out even better. But we have the opportunity to do this now, which is really neat. Okay. Oh, there it goes again. Okay. All right, so some future projects at the PAC that we're working on now is the aisle lighting is fairly dim for my level of safety standards. So we're looking at getting the aisle lighting replaced so that as you're walking in a dark house, you won't trip and fall or anything like that. Another big issue we're going to have is the rigging, is all of the stuff that makes things fly up and down. We have the the acoustic shell that has ceilings that come in. So all of that stuff is rated for about 25 years. We're past that. So, but it's a large ticket price, and with the budgeting in the district, it's not super optimistic. We're hoping that we can start budgeting and maybe doing a couple of line sets. So a line set is like, I think we have 27 or something different line sets that go up and down. And so we might start changing them individually because they're all on pulleys and ropes and cables that go way up in there in the air. And I certainly don't want to drop a 1,500-pound shell ceiling on someone. I think that would be a bad idea. And I also took a rigging training, so I'm certified rigger now. But they opened up the whole thing with basically saying that a lot of people don't realize this, but the APAC on a school campus is the most dangerous building in the district. And it took me a second to think about it, but they're right. We have catwalks where you're, 50 feet above the seats. You've got a 4-foot drop down off the stage that doesn't have a railing. You've got a 400 amps company switch service, so lots of power running everywhere. You've got tools for building sets and things. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, and then you've got the line sets and the moving up and down, and so it's really important that we do all that safely. Our insurance company appreciates that. Actually, they were the ones that sponsored the training. So, and then access too. So we have a lot of, I think our last report when the insurance came through, they're really pleased with how we keep the room locked up and the access to those things that are more dangerous, pretty much under lock and key all the time unless we're there actively monitoring it. So anyway, if anyone has an extra bunch of money laying around and wants, we would love to do that, but we'll get there. That's just a goal. And I also would like to do an assisted listening system in there. I'm studying lots of different varieties. There's loop technology. There's some other ones. There's Wi-Fi based. There's Bluetooth based. There's lots of different things that we're looking at and finding out what will be best for us. However, getting that new speaker system in there and dialed appropriately for the room has alleviated a lot of that already, because basically all of those speakers are just putting out sound waves, and then waves, if they're in sync with each other, they come into your ear and you hear. If they're not in sync, it turns to mud in your ear, and that's when you can't hear things as well. And just bringing that in and having the speakers dialed to that room has increased everyone's ability to hear things. Some of our, Debbie Brownell, our board members, like, wow, this is great. I can hear it now, and so that's without any assisted listening. So that's a step in the direction, but I think we could go more. Moving lights are a really, really cool thing. And we have the new light board. I'm not talking about all the older stuff because I already talked about it, but our light board can control these moving lights, and we'd like to have more of them with better facilities, because a lot of the ones we have just kind of were hand-me-downs, and we've made them work, and they're fantastic. And we love it. But basically, a moving light, the evolution of lighting in theater, it started off with a candle, right, and a little reflector. But after that, then they created lights, and then you'd have to put a gel in front of it to change the color. And you would have to do that everywhere you wanted light, because they didn't move. The orange light is going in that direction. And if you want a different light there, you have to have another lighting instrument. So then with LEDs coming into the scheme of things as even non-moving lights, now you can change that light color without having to have another instrument up there. And then when you can move it also, it's just fantastic. You can pre-program it to move where you want it and then turn it on at the right time. Or you can also program it to move and follow things. I don't know if you saw the Nutcracker the last couple of years. That follow spot in the beginning, when he first comes out, is all programmed moving light. But then the actor has to also be moving at the same speed. So it's a delicate balance. And then we're talking about also wanting to increase the ADA seating in there. I think there's that first row that comes out, maybe taking that out and having that whole area be ADA seating as well for folks. But that means demoing concrete and things like that. So I don't know where we're at on that, but you got to throw it out there. Okay, so some PAC accomplishments that we have done. This is where I'm going to talk about Andrew a lot, because our light board is basically, he's created this light board that it's got touch screens on it, and it's got a map of the theater with all of the fixtures that you can possibly use at your fingertips. And you can just touch a light. Boom, I want that light on. I want it to be red, and I want it to be 50%. Boom, there it is. It is incredible. You can do groups. You can do all kinds of different things. It's really, really just making designing lights so much easier. And it's just remarkable. I mean, we have had several people come in. We just train them. I know Heartland Dance is loving it, because they come in and they're just like, what? I can do my own stuff. And they're getting creative with their lighting and doing all this stuff. They were also the first ones to use the projector up on the screen. So and they did an amazing, I don't know if anyone saw that Heartland show this year, but it was it was neat. And they also did all their own music and stuff. Anyway, we also did our pricing restructure at the PAC, which didn't make everybody happy, but it was kind of necessary. After 25 years, things do get more expensive, and we needed to kind of reformat how it was done, largely to create more equity and transparency across the board for what the services are and what you're getting when you purchase the PAC or rent the PAC. It wasn't really that. It was just structured differently, and it took us quite a while to come up with a better solution. And I think we're there. I think there's some issues that we might address, but I think it's in a much better place right now. And I think most everyone has choked it down and they're okay with it now. Okay, then I talked about the rigging training. That was fantastic, really great to learn that we hadn't necessarily been doing it right, but we're going to do it right now. And then also, just as a note for myself, it was really important to me that this year I got this support staff of the year from Grants Pass High School. And this is an award that's given to you by the students. So anyway, that's that. Anyone have questions or thoughts? Brenda? Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid to use the other microphone.
Right. You take that.
Like, Wade, could we get your assistance later?
I wanted to hear a little bit more about this tribute to Bobby Kidder. Do you have a date? Do you have a place?
Sorry.
It's okay. I just saw LaSalle Vetch, who was also a founding member of Impact Theater with Bobby, and Bobby left for a lot of years, but is back in town in the area, and it made a huge impact on so many of us that we're basically it's text message level at the moment, but we want to put together something that, and maybe it would be at the PAC. Jenny threw out the idea of creating a Briskworks type script with vignettes and different things highlighting in tribute to Bobby. We're not sure what's going to look like yet, but we will certainly let you know, and Jenny will be instrumental in all that, so she'll be able to share that information.
I'd like to know how your exchange experience changed your life.
Do you guys have 2 more hours? Yeah, I think the best thing I can say in a nutshell is that when I went over there, I thought I was going to be great because I could be whoever I wanted. You know, no one knew me. No one knew me when I had cream cheese and sprout sandwiches in elementary school. You know, and no one knew that about me. I could be whoever I wanted. And also growing up a vegetarian, I went over there and I was like, well, I'm just going to jump into the whole meat eating side of things, and I just wanted to reinvent myself. And what I found out is that I liked who I was. And I didn't have to change or put on airs differently than I was. It was just the culture I was here. And kids are just mean, and we get over it eventually. But that informed my whole life, really. That aspect, I think, just realizing that you have something to offer, and you can, I don't know, and the ambassador part of it. So just really the global mindedness, the fact that we're all related in humans. It's still dear to my heart. That whole experience is one of the best years of my life. It was really, really amazing. Had great host families. Got to do a lot of different things that I wouldn't have done. I went to the Berlin Wall right after it came down when I was there. So lots of really fun experiences that then, have led me to be who I am now.
So don't leave. So I got to tell you, because Val and I think a few others, we worked for the district long enough ago, school district, that we saw the PAC happen. And we saw Steve Daggett be our first PAC chief, and then he got sick. And we've been through all the iterations, and there has never been anybody in command that's been better at not only running the Performing Arts Center, but getting good staff. And I don't know if you all know this about Wade, but he also brings in students, a lot of students that are behind the scenes running tech. And having done, I don't know how many shows I did at the PAC, but a lot. I was the music director. I'll tell you what, I really have to applaud what's going on and how happy we all are. And I think the whole district recognizes that, not just those artsy people like myself.
Thank you, Kelly. And it's true, we do all of our productions are basically student-led or student-driven. We do a lot of design work and set them up for success. But they're ones, and then again, that the work that Andrew's done on the light board makes it so accessible and so easy and intuitive for them. They understand this stuff. Oh, and they go and they'll be able to manifest their own light designs, which is something that wouldn't have been possible without a degree. So anyway, yeah. Anything else?
No. So talk a little bit about sort of the process of the PAC. I'm thinking about, we see a production maybe every month and a half or something like that, but there's probably stuff going on constantly, both ramping up for a production and whatnot. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah. So it's interestingly different with every company that comes in. Some of them have their act together more than others. But it's still, you wouldn't know any of that. What you see in the end is quality. How we get there is different every time. But so 111 comes in. They have their sets mostly pre-constructed. Prior to this, they've been doing rehearsals and everything else outside. They come in, so a theater comes in, then we set up the lights, how they want the lights to look. They build the set. They have a couple of rehearsals, dress rehearsals, and then we go straight into the show. So it's kind of they've done a lot of the pre-work ahead of time before they come in. And I am a little jealous with those outside groups. They get to build sets on stage that don't have to move. But when we're building stuff for the high school, we have to have a mobile set because we're accommodating orchestra concerts, choir concerts, band concerts, and we have to have the stage cleared. So everything has to be built on wheels and movable. So that gets frustrating at times. But and then we host the symphony, and they have been doing it for a while, and they are really slick. We go in and set up the sound shell. They come in with their stage manager and gear, and they load everything out, set it all up, and then run the symphony, and then pack it all up and send it on. It's on its way. Is that?
I don't know what I don't know. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of work behind the scenes. We're trying to be as helpful as we can to different communities or different, because a lot of these people are community theater and they don't have necessarily a degree in theater production and design like I do or other things. So they are doing it how they were taught how to do it. And so sometimes that, creates rubs when we're like, no, it has to be done this way. And but we don't, that's how we've always done it. So there's a little bit of that we're working through. But our whole goal is to make it accessible and, accessible and easy and fun. We're there as support for what they want to do.
So on the average, how many times a month or week is it used, or how often for the whole year?
About 260 days out of the year. So, that's because all those days, those long days when you're getting ready for a show. Nutcracker is a very intensive endeavor. I think in January, I had accumulated an extra week and a half of time in a month. So being salary, I was like, that sucks. But we're working on that too. And it's also my own ability to, kind of create that work and life differential that I'm sure we all have problems with because we're all active community people doing things all the time. And yeah, it's just a challenge at times.
I feel like this is a great time to step in and say that's one of the dangers of studying improv. We tend to say yes a lot. I would just like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Wade. I called him 2 days ago or texted him, say, hey, anyway, you want to be really spontaneous and do this for me? It's my first presidential choice of a presenter, and I really wanted it to be something that's near and dear to my heart and someone that I've worked with for decades now. I tell Tommy often that I'm kind of your honorary child that you didn't know you had, because I have a lot in common with both Wade and Roxy, and it's just an honor that you were able to be here, and I knew you'd do a great job. Thank you. So we still have a little bit of time left. I'm going to invite Doug Walker up to be our Sergeant at Arms, also winging it since the beginning. Was it Jim Huber? My fault. I had Jim Lefebvre down and I knew he wasn't here. So forgive me, Jim, for going off my memory.
No, I don't.
Thank you, Jim.
H, not JL.
I knew this.
You know, one thing I've noticed about our club is that people like to travel both domestically and internationally. So I thought what would be kind of fun to lead into Happy Bucks is to share something that you learned on a trip and something that also makes you happy. So I'm going to just give you a few things that I learned recently. We were in Ireland back in, when was it? April already. And great place. But here's a couple things I learned. Okay, what not to do in Ireland. First of all, you do not say St. Paddy's Day. It's St. Patrick's Day. So don't ever say that. Don't say top of the morning to you. That's just such a cliche. If you go into a bar, you do not order a black and tan. Black and tan were the, I guess, British soldiers that were pretty repressive back in the bad times. And you also don't order an Irish car bomb. Very bad taste. Don't do that. You don't overtip. It's amazing. They do not expect, in general, you don't have to show how wealthy you are by tipping generously. You can give a bartender maybe a coin or two, but you don't have to tip much. And, you just look like kind of like you're bragging. So just don't do it. And, don't wear a lot of orange. Orange is more associated with Northern Ireland. I'm talking about the Republic of Ireland, because if you remember William of Orange from years ago, one of the bad English people who fought the Irish. So orange is not a popular color. So those are a couple things not to do. And don't think you only have to drink stouts all the time. First of all, you don't have to drink anything, but there's a lot of stuff to drink besides a Guinness stout. There's quite a few. Okay, a couple things to do. Walk around and explore, drop into shops and talk to people. I was amazed at how friendly and how open people were. You can go to a lot of free things, free museums. You can pay, there's plenty of things to pay for, but there's also beautiful parks and grounds and things that are for free. Look for signs. They're little restaurants and they call them pubs, but that say trad music. Trad means traditional. There's so much good music and you just pop in, you'd be surprised almost any hour of the day. And then, take trains and buses. Great way to see the country. You don't need to drive a car. In fact, a lot of Irish people acted like their train system wasn't very good. I thought it was incredible. It's inexpensive and you can go anywhere. What made me happy? A lot of things did, but just one quick story. So just think of something that made you happy that will manifest itself and you're giving some happy bucks. John's ready already. I thought you were tired. We're not done there. But anyway, so my buddy and I, we're sitting at a little outdoor little spot drinking some coffee, and this woman, a young mother, and her little, I call her a little cherubic child because she looked like a little angel. Anyway, she overheard us talking, and so she just started talking, said, hey, where are you guys from? What are you up to? And blah, blah, blah. And we had the nicest chat, and she was a very pleasant lady. And I said, oh, what's your child's name? And her name this is Irish Gaelic, so I won't get it quite right, but it's like Noeen. And then she used the diminutive form, which is like Noeen. And anyway, Noeen in Gaelic Irish means daisy. And whenever I think of that, I think of this plump little kid with beautiful hair and beautiful eyes and this really sweet mom. So anyway, that would made me happy. And I'd like to give $20 to prime the pump for Happy Bucks. So who's got a good story about travel? Okay, Dawn, ladies first.
All right, I thought I would share 3 things in French restaurants, because if you're in France, of course, you're going to restaurants. Number 1, Steve and I were bicycling in the south of France, and we came to this small village, and it was lunchtime, and there was this really cool little restaurant, and I always try and use my rudimentary French. So we get in there, and it's really, the chef is the owner, and his wife is the owner, and she's the one who's at the front of the tables. And she comes to me, and I'm looking at the menu, and of course I'm going to try to do French. And I said, je voudrais celui-ci. And she looked at me, and she says, oh, speak your own language. Secondly, we were in another small town, and it was a really sweet little restaurant, similar. Chef was the owner, wife was the owner, she was up front. And, you know, the French really know how to pair wine and food, of course. So Steve and I order what we were going to have for dinner, and we look at the young woman and we say, so with what we've ordered, what would you suggest we have for wine? And she looks, and she's just very, very serious. And then she goes, so she brings the wine, and I think, wow, this is, you know, really sophisticated. She puts the bottle between her legs, and she pulls the cork. All right, and the last really quick one, in French, we were at a nicer restaurant one time. Steve asked me, he looks at the menu, and he said, Dawn, he said, what is this? And I said, I think it's beef. I think it's some kind of steak. So he ordered it, and he got fish.
How many of you have been to Florence, Italy? Wave your hand. I've been to Florence, Italy, and crossed the Ponte Vecchio and got down on one knee and proposed marriage to my sweetheart, and I've been laughing ever since.
What's next? And remember, we're trying to raise some bucks, so not too long.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you all to throw $1 in with my story. Tommy was in on this story. We're in France, and we had gone to some restaurant for lunch. And I too, like Dawn was saying, I'm practicing my French. Où est le WC? Well, like, where's the bathroom? And so they showed me where. So they showed me where the bathroom was, and I went into the bathroom. And meanwhile, we were ordering some kind of weird pizzas. I can't remember what. Yeah, it was really bad. Anyway, yeah, it was I don't know, maybe some of you would like it, but it was a pizza that had pile of tuna on it. I'm talking like a mound. Anyway, so I use the facilities, and I can't get out of the bathroom. And not only could I not get out of the bathroom, but I had to just kind of pound on the door for a while. And finally, I think you, Tommy, recognized that I was not there. And time passes, but what ended up having to I could hear them bringing tools out. So they actually had to take the door off to get me out of the bathroom. But then the piece de resistance was that they tried to charge me for the door.
That was great. And it was such horrible food, but it was a great story to repeat over and over again. Oh, what was I good? I was going to say something now. Okay. Okay, so the shoes I have on have traveled to Greece. And we walked on the trail around the island we were on. What island was it? Santorini. And we walked down to a wonderful little restaurant. And then we walked back. No, we took a bus back or something. We did. We only walked one way, but it was great fun, a beautiful view. Yeah, Margaret was with us. Yeah. So that's that story, and I'll give you some money for that. My next thing is I could tell you what I think his most important thing from his trip was, is that he went away kind of a nerd who would really, oh, nobody likes me, Mom. And he'd walk into school and all these girls are going, ooh. And so we don't believe him, but he believes him. So he comes back a very sophisticated young man who's been all over the world and knows what he's doing and speaks fluent Danish, and eventually goes to England for a while, 4 months, and does a project there with Rotary. Rotary is fabulous for kiddos.
Okay, well, I'll give it to or whoever next, but anyway, my first thing is I had a bathroom experience like that in Ireland too, I think. And I was pushing, and I knocked and somebody came by and they slid it open for me. Anyway, that happens on occasion. And also, it's my 32nd, Doug and my 32nd anniversary today. And it's been a wonderful 32 years, and it's also half of my lifetime. So you can figure out my age, but that was sort of.
Yeah, she beat me to it. I was going to get her. So I have this happy bucks for that too. Also, just how fortunate my life is. I was out this morning picking blackberries in the cool morning. It was lovely. And I once won an award for the 5th best blackberry grower in Grants Pass. Anywhere I got dirt. So two stories, not two things about travel. One is it's really wonderful to be traveling and to finally figure out how to order the drink you like. Whether for me it's the morning coffee, the way I like it in their language, so I actually get what I want and not go through 5 different coffees before I get coffee with the right cream and everything. And then I forgot what the other thing was there. There was something, but it was funny. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot.
No, we could go on. Let's pull a card. Wade, you be since you're our guest, all I gotta do is pull a card. Call it out, please. 2 of spades. The 2 of spades. I got it. That we saw. All right, that one's got it. Okay, thanks. All right, Jen.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you all. That takes me to the thought of the day, which is one of the most important messages I send to my students and one of the ones I remind myself of on a daily basis. And it's really simple. Find your people. I've found my people and they show up for me. Thank you.